So tell me the truth. Do you ever feel buried and overwhelmed because you feel like you're just never going to get through all of the things? How do you even prioritize what to do when your to-do list seems like it's growing instead of shrinking? So today I want to share with you one simple strategy that I've started using to organize and prioritize my to-do list that has, no joke, been life-changing. And at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you how you can get your hands on a resource to help you start doing this today, as well as a bonus tip, so stick around. If you're new here, I'm Tiff, absent-minded professor of neurobiology. I was diagnosed with ADHD at age 37. All right, let's go. Okay, so you are all probably very familiar with the anxiety-provoking, happiness-draining, ever-present horror that is that never-ending to-do list. Now, once I was diagnosed with ADHD and actually medicated, I did manage to keep myself kind of a master list of all of the things that I had to do. And that's great because now it's visible, right? And if I can't see something, it literally ceases to exist. And now I'm trucking along as this people-pleasing, overachieving professor, mom of two with no boundaries. And I'm looking at this list every day, and I have a lot of stuff to do. Now, on my best days, I could tick off like 10 things off of my to-do list. But, I would get to the end of my day, I'd tick off all of these things, and I'd be like, I feel like I was really busy today, but I don't feel like I accomplished anything. And so I would leave feeling disappointed and ineffective instead of actually noticing and appreciating the things that I did get done. In addition to that, my to-do list was getting longer instead of shorter, even when I was being really effective at checking things off. And I would start every single day coming in, opening up that to-do list, and then I would have to decide, what do I want to actually spend my time on? And ADHD brains in particular have a really hard time prioritizing tasks. So you're choosing between sending this little email, doing this long-term project, or that other long-term project, like what's the most important thing to do? So I was wasting a lot of time and energy deciding what to do. And when I didn't decide on doing the right things, I get to the end of the day, feel like I got nothing useful accomplished. And then I'm leaving each day feeling really defeated about all the things I didn't accomplish instead of proud and, happy and content with the things that I did accomplish. Then I have to go home, I walk in the door, and I'm supposed to be an engaged parent, a good spouse, maybe take some time for myself. But what's actually going on in the back of my mind is I'm thinking about work and running through my to-do list and thinking about, did I miss anything? Was there something important I should have been working on? And it started to be like this every single day. And all I could see was this future where I was going to repeat the same patterns, never shrink my to-do list, and just be on this treadmill, sprinting all the time till the end of time. And this got so bad that it actually forced me to start to find a solution. And as a side note, sometimes I'm grateful for the times in life when things get bad enough to force me to find a solution, because usually it's something that needed to be addressed, and usually the solution is not as painful as my brain might have imagined it to be. Now, I've mentioned before that when my brain hears the word system, framework, like glitches and wants to run away, but the truth is that there are systems and frameworks out there, or at least parts of them, that work great for people with ADHD, and they're worth considering. And so as I find them, that's why I share them, because these little changes have made a huge difference in my life, and they're so easy to implement, especially this one. So the thing I like most about this approach, in addition to just how easy it is that it generalizes. This will work for lots of different types of people in lots of different types of situations. So once you get used to using this, it generalizes across your entire life. And these are my favorite types of solutions because they're easy and they work in lots of different ways, and you don't have to change anything for them to keep working. Okay, so this approach is called the Big Three. So I read about this in a book by Michael Hyatt called Free to Focus. This book is amazing, but it is filled with a frankly overwhelming number of worksheets, strategies, frameworks, and systems that you can implement to really organize your life. No way I can do all of those things, but I have taken two very important things from that book. One is my calendar strategy, and I'll have that video linked below, and then this to-do list strategy that have really been life-changing. So this strategy is going to help you prioritize your to-do list and actually feel like you got the important things done at the end of the day. So here are the 8 simple steps you need to implement this strategy. Okay, step 1, just list everything you have to do. Big, small, do now, do later, write it down on the list, and put the due date. If you want something to work from, I have a free one linked in the description below that will help you get started with this. List everything you have to do just so you have it all out on a list. Don't organize it, don't edit it, just get it all on paper. So step 2 is I want you to categorize everything as either important or not important. On the worksheet that I have linked, there's check boxes for this. So check the important box if it's important, leave it blank if it's not. So important really just means things where there would be some fairly significant consequence if you didn't get it done. And the unimportant ones just mean that probably everything would be fine if it didn't happen. Step 3, now I want you to classify everything on your list as either urgent, due now-ish, or not urgent, due in the future. And hopefully the due date that you wrote down with everything on your list will help you categorize that. And again, there's a checkbox for that on the worksheet that you can download. So this classification scheme of important or not and urgent or not is called the Eisenhower matrix. And what it is a simple, and I do love simple, approach to help you kind of categorize what you should be focusing on and what you should be leaving for later or eliminating altogether. Okay, and the basic idea is this creates 4 categories. And the important and urgent items on your to-do list are those things that you need to do, and you need to do them right away. So this is the do now quadrant, right? The second category are things that are also important, but they're not urgent. Okay, so they need to get done, but they don't need to get done right now. So these are things that you want to schedule, okay? Put into your calendar for later when they become a little bit more urgent. The third quadrant is the not important but urgent tasks. This is a quadrant that causes me personally a lot of trouble because it is things that are due soon that don't actually matter very much, okay? And the not important urgent tasks are actually things that, if at all possible, you want to delegate or you want to automate, okay? Hand it off to somebody else, pay to have it done, automate the process, maybe say no to it altogether if it's not something that you actually need to be involved in. And this is where you can start to discern, am I taking on other people's urgency as my own and doing tasks that aren't actually important for me to be doing? So people can often come to you and ask things of you where they feel it's very urgent and important, but for you, it might not actually be. So these are things you want to try not to say yes to unless absolutely necessary, but definitely delegate them if you can. Okay, in the fourth quadrant, the not important, not urgent tasks are tasks that ideally you're going to eliminate from your to-do list. If you cannot eliminate them, you definitely want to automate them or delegate them, okay? But ideally you eliminate them. Or by knowing what those types of things are, you stop getting them onto your to-do list in the future. This quadrant is also something that can get really full for people that actually we need to be doing less of. So now you've put everything into that category, and step 4 is to then actually eliminate the things that you can from the not important, not urgent, and try to delegate and get off of your list anything from the not important but urgent quadrant, okay? So now you kind of have your list pruned down as much as possible at this point. Step 5 is kind of a bonus step, but in this step, you can take any big tasks on your to-do list, if you didn't already, and break it down into subtasks with their own due dates that are then categorized as, important or urgent or not. Okay, so step 6 is where we actually start to get into the big 3 system. And the first thing you're going to do is probably at the end of each week for the next week, but you can just start now for this week, is you're going to do your weekly big 3. Okay, and your weekly big 3 are the 3 tasks that you want to prioritize completing or making progress on for that week. This is not going to encompass everything you're going to do in the week, but what it helps you do is see, these are my 3 most important things for the week. So as you're choosing what you're going to do in the day, in the next step, you can have that in mind, and that will also help you further prioritize what you want to be working on and how you want to be spending your time. So I want you to put the weekly big 3 on a new sheet. So the download has a separate sheet for your weekly big 3 for any given week. And I want you to write down your weekly big 3. Now these should be, again, important tasks that are urgent, or if they're not urgent, they're ones where you need to make progress on them over the next week. And you can only choose 3. Okay, step 7 is now at the end of every day, you are going to pick tomorrow's big 3. So I have my video on how I organize my calendar linked down below where I talk more about this, but at the end of every day, I have some admin time. And in addition to just clearing off emails or finishing up tiny things that need to get done, the other thing I do is I pick my daily big 3 for the next day, okay? So these need to be, again, prioritizing the important tasks that are urgent. And if you have to choose among those tasks, then you want to pick tasks that relate to your weekly big three. Okay, so this is a multi-layers of prioritizing that just helps you pick the 3 things that are most important. And again, you can only pick 3. Okay, this is hard at first, and you may not be able to whittle it down to 3. And if you cannot whittle it down to 3, that is another signal that you are taking on too much all at once, because the reality is the amount of hours in the day are finite, your energy is finite, and you need to be getting it down to where you just have 3 big things that you want to accomplish each day. And step 8 is really the maintenance phase. So once you have this picked out for your very first week and your very first day, then you're going to come in the morning of your first day where you have a big 3, and you're gonna, and this is again in my calendar video, I have scheduled admin time in the morning too, where I check off a bunch of, get through my email inbox, get it down to 0, and also look at again what big 3 I picked out and hopefully put on my calendar from yesterday to work through for that day. So you look ahead to those tasks, check them off as you go through your day, and then again at the end of the day, you look at what you got done and pick out your big 3 for the next day. If for some reason you didn't get all the way through a task, you can just roll that over into the next day and make it part of your daily big 3 for the next day. Now, the beauty of doing it like this is that you leave work every single day knowing what you got done and also what you're going to do the next day. Okay, and so you don't have that mental weight of worrying about your to-do list, worrying about what you didn't get done, because you know you got the most important things done and you know you have a plan for tomorrow. Frees up all that energy to just be present at home and leave work at work, which feels amazing, I must say. And really, that's the approach. So here are a couple of notes I want you to keep in mind. First, check things off as you do them, notice that you do them, and celebrate that you got them done. Okay? I want you to feel good when you're getting wins like that. And knowing you've accomplished the most important stuff, at least for me, was a gigantic dopamine hit every day and continues to be. Another point is to not use this for really minor things you have to do during the day. So if you have a little meeting or an email you need to send or something you just like a chat you need to have with someone, you can put those in your calendar as just part of sort of your schedule, but those shouldn't be your sort of daily big 3, right? Because they are not the most important tasks to accomplish. Also, keep planning ahead for the day before and keep adding to that master to-do list. So I just cross things off as they go off of my to-do list, but then I keep adding to the master list of sort of things that I have to do, and keep categorizing them as you add them. So as you add them, decide whether they are important and urgent. And things will of course become urgent as the due date approaches, but just make sure you keep everything written down and categorized so that every day you can pick from that list to make your next list. Another point is now you know what tasks you have on your list are not important. And if those were really big quadrants of your matrix, the not important and not important, not urgent tasks, then look at how you can clear those off. So that may be delegating, that may be just eliminating altogether. It may, I hope, at least mean starting to say no to those types of tasks in the future. So if you get asked to do that or expected to do that, you should just start to pause and clear some of that off of your to-do list. And that just frees up time and bandwidth and happiness and is good. And then I can't stress this enough, but if you have more than 3 big things, like if you truly cannot just keep your big things down to 3, then you really need to take a hard look at how much you are taking on and how much you are doing yourself, because it is probably too much. And whether you are the person that needs to be doing that, or whether it's something that someone else could be taking on, or whether maybe it's something you just need to say no to. Okay, so the idea behind this is that we are keeping your to-do list prioritized and manageable, and hopefully it is a source of success and feelings of winning instead of this constant energy drain and source of stress that's just never going to end. And here's a bonus tip for you. This is the level up, okay? If you get to a point where you start to get done with things and find yourself with an opening in your calendar, try not to fill that with work. Go get a coffee. Go talk to a friend. Strategize. Read a book. Get some sun. Do something that allows you to be present in the moment where you aren't doing a work task. Please don't scroll on your phone. Try to do something else. Okay? But permit yourself that if you get through your list, that's fine. You've gotten done what you need to do today, and use that extra time. If you get done with your day early and you're able to, maybe you leave early, So that is actually the level up, because you'll start to get much better at managing your time. That frees up time, and use that free time to make your life happier and better. So again, if you want to see how I recommend setting up your week for success and your schedule for success, watch this video. And I will see you next time.